Thank you for being
Yes,
on.
yes, nice to be at your show, Vaibhav.
Right. And to everyone watching, thank you again for joining the Vaibhav Shetty experience Beyond the Gloves. And for those of you who don't know, we do this every Friday, 6:30 p.m. India time. We have two episodes of Beyond the Gloves back to back, 2 Fridays, followed by the Inside Scoop on the third Friday, where we bring a coach or a promoter in. So we have a guest, who needs no introduction because almost anybody who's followed anything of Muay Thai in India would know who Surya is. But let me put in a few words about Surya. He's one of the pioneers as far as professional Muay Thai in India goes. Uh, he really kicked off his professional career over in Thailand, where he became the very first Indian to win a bronze medal at the Max Muay Thai event. And back in India, we had WBC Muay Thai conduct its very first WBC Muay Thai India title fight. That again was headlined by Surya Saga, who won by a spectacular, elbow and a knee finish in the first round itself. So thank you again, Surya, for being on the show. And in case I made any errors, feel free to correct me.
Yep. The first thing you said, Max Muay Thai bronze medal. So Max Muay Thai does not have any kind of medals, but
Okay,
it's a
my mistake.
professional bouts which happen there. So
Hmm.
I've been the first Indian to win there in Max Muay Thai right now. The previous fighter from India who fought in Max Muay Thai was Abhimanyu Thakur in 2015.
Uh-huh.
He lost by decision, but after him, it's been just me who was fighting in Max Muay Thai and got a win for India.
Perfect. And you really opened the doors for Indian athletes because, ever since, before you actually went out there and actually, won a fight, people were going to Thailand, but it was very far and in between, and nobody was really winning. And ever since you took that, that win, I think the confidence of Indian fighters has actually really, really grown. So, you've been a real pioneer out there. So again, thank you for that, Surya. So yeah, tell me a little bit. I mean, for those who don't know you, because we got people who follow boxing and MMA as well, and they may not be as familiar with the Muay Thai scene. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your journey?
So first thing is, before I started Muay Thai, like right now, I'm the first Indian to have the WBC title in
Hmm.
India, the national champion right now, and also the first Indian to win at the Rajadamnam Stadium, which is the
Hmm.
world's first Muay Thai stadium, which is in Thailand, Bangkok, and also the Max Muay Thai Stadium. And this is just the beginning, I would like to tell, because these are just a starting point. But before Muay Thai, I was basically into wildlife. I wanted to be a herpetologist and an ornithologist. That was completely like, if you guys would have known Steve Irwin from Australia and David Attenborough, who's one of the biggest naturalists out there in the world, and people might have really followed them because Animal Planet, Discovery Channel, they always show these people, and I was more of into that, like into wildlife, and I never thought I would be a professional fighter.
Hmm.
It was just, there were things that came up in life that I it gave me the option of taking up, because eventually I actually, in my childhood, I started off very slow in my education. Like I've changed like 13 schools throughout my childhood, and there were so many setbacks because I could not learn what I really wanted to learn. That was completely to being in nature and really being practical about, not theoretically. But I think most of the schools did not understand kids who are different. They would call them not really, working in the head kind of a thing. It was
Hmm.
not. I think now people are changing. There are so many schools. For example, Insight Academy. That was the last school I changed, and that's Insight Academy is a school where I studied my ninth and tenth, and I passed out of that school. And they gave me a huge, what do you say, open minded for myself, and they were open minded for themselves, where they could see something in me where I could take something for myself. I would not finish my homework, it wouldn't be a big issue there, but the past schools I had so much of issues. My mom and dad helped me so much to move around trying to find the right school. And
Hmm.
the reason why I'm talking about the school and why I could not cope up with it was, you know Muay Thai changed my life forever in a very different way. And Muay Thai came up way back in the early times when I was a kid, because my dad would show me all these, because he's a actor himself in the
Right.
Kannada industry, and he would show me movies of Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Van Damme. There's so many movies that he showed me, which kind of had a spark in me. I always wanted to do stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
but never thought I would actually become one of, something. It was something in the back of my head where I never thought I would. But I think later on in my education, I after finishing my 10th, I was completely aimless. I didn't know what to take, because all the colleges, they always said that I have to take a three subject combination, and maths, and there were so many things. I was so much difficult for me to cope up with, and
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I could not, really cope up with the education system here, how it was. So
Right.
I was aimless, and for a time I was just lost. I was just being one of the kids, teenage kids, who would just sit, roam around, don't know what to do, and have bad company, get into bad habits. And I think bad habits is something that everyone will have a phase. I think cigarette smoking, what all, how it is. So,
Right.
and I was pretty aimless at that time. And thank God, before becoming completely aimless, I was already in a gym called Rock Solid Studio, and
Uh-huh.
from my 10th grade, which was in Bangalore. And I had started training, but I never took it seriously. I just did it for myself, because I had issues where people would always put me down. My classmates would bully me, because I was more of into wildlife, and I was completely different. They would call me a freak for, because I would catch snakes, catch things, which would
Mm-hmm.
crawl, move, which people don't really like. And it's something very different. But
Right.
rather than taking it as a different, like something new, they would categorize me into a freak place, a freak guy. And this was kind of hitting me in the inside, because people who, like my classmates, would completely distance me away.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not have a proper friendship with my friends. Very few friends. Even till date, I think I have very few friends I like to go around with. And there's so many people who come back to me saying, "Hey man, you're the champion and everything." I still don't want to go there, because there's a phase of time where you're at the lowest, and people
Right.
kind of, what do you say, see you as a lower being. But once you achieve something, and they start looking up to you, like, "Hey man, hey, I know Surya, and that, this, that's that." But it's a part of the life, but I
Right.
think Thai boxing changed my life forever,
Mm-hmm.
because it gave me a purpose for myself. First, it was eventually to show people, and show all the teachers and all those people who put me down, saying that I was worthless. And people
Mm-hmm.
told me that I'm not gonna grow up in life. That's what few of my teachers in a parents teacher meeting, or at the end of the school, would tell my mom. He's like, "Hey, your son is not capable of doing things." And my
Oh,
mom
that's
knew I
bad.
was capable of a lot of things.
Right.
But I had to prove these people, saying that even if I'm not studying, I can do something whatever I want to do. That
Right.
was the first aim,
Mm-hmm.
kind of. But then eventually it turned into self-working, self-improvement. And there's so much that, it opened my mind in very different ways of how do I discipline myself, how do I work on myself, how do I really put myself and my doubts and my demons into a completely different challenge, give a challenge for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my Muay Thai journey began. And I started fighting, I think, in 2015. I
Uh-huh.
lost my first fight. That was in nationals, amateur Muay Thai fight. And
Right.
at the first fight, I was very overconfident, like super overconfident. I was like, I'm gonna grab the head, I'm gonna knee the shit out of this guy. But of course, I had chest pad, headgear, and all this stuff, which
Right.
they didn't train us with. When I went
Mm-hmm.
into the ring and I started fighting, the first thing I recognized was I was losing cardio, because of all the chest pad and everything. But I lost everything. I was like literally fighting like a drunk guy. So it was a very nice, what do you say, an experience which pushed me through to go again and start fighting.
Surya, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we lost you for a minute there. You're saying that you were fighting like a drunk guy, and then it just cut off. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, as I was saying, I was overconfident. I felt I was tired in the fight because of all the stuff, and I lost that fight by decision. But it
Wow.
opened